Welcome to toy-polloi. No Legos were harmed in the making of this video.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi, and in today's video we are going to be restoring a vintage Transformers Generation 1 Devastator. Now if you've been watching my channel recently you'll have seen that I got a very lovely donation from Michael Schaefer which included a whole pile of Transformers, and the one that most people sort of got in touch with me about, the one they wanted to see restored, was Devastator. So I've had to sort of dig through the box and picked out all the pieces that were there for this sort of combiner figure, and as you can see I have 5 of the main sort of parts. Devastator is actually made up of 6 little vehicles, but there are only 5 in the box, and there was also a whole bag of pieces, so I'll just tip that out so you can see what was in there. We've managed to sort of find most of the sort of weapons and bits. I think there's enough certainly to build most of Devastator, but there's quite a bit of damage sort of going on that needs to be fixed, and obviously we need to find the missing figure. So the 5 figures I have here are Scrapper, which is this guy here on the left. He's actually in not too bad condition, just a bit dirty. Then we have Hook. As you can see, that's again not in bad condition, a tad sort of dirty but not too bad. In the middle we have Bone Crusher. Again, that one's actually reasonable condition, just dirty. Then the one with the most damage is Long Haul. So here we have Long Haul, and I think this is the one that's going to take the most work to get sort of working. He is dirty. If we turn him over you can see he's also quite sort of yellowed, but I don't actually think that is the plastic yellowing. I think what's happened at some point, a battery has sort of gone off and leaked everywhere, because this smells like battery acid, and I've done a little sort of scratch on there. You can see it's just all on the surface. I think most of this with a good clean should come off, but you can see we've also got rusty pins on the wheels, and again we should be able to clean that. And sadly one of the wheels has snapped off, but again in that box there was the wheel, so we need to repair that to get Long Haul working and sort of, yeah, in a fit state to put back together. But I think that is all fixable, so that's going to be the main part of work on this project, is getting him running. But I can tell you it really smells, whatever is on him, it's got that sort of vinegary acidy smell, which is why I think it's a battery that has leaked, and the sort of rust as well that we've got on these wheels tends to sort of make me think that's what it is. So yeah, a good clean will get that off, because it certainly does have a little bit of a pong to it. And then we have Mixmaster. Again, Mixmaster is in reasonable condition, little bit of wear and tear on him. The chrome is wearing a lot on the front, so I think we're going to repair that just to make him look nice. And then a bit of rust everywhere, but that should be able to be cleaned off fairly easily. Now we are also missing one of the figures, which is Scavenger, and I did have a quick look in my box because I knew a while back, I have to say I'm sorry I can't remember who it is, but someone sent me a load of broken Transformers, and I remember that I did have bits of Scavenger in there. So this was all I found of Scavenger. You can see the main sort of arm has snapped off it, but very kindly Martin Baum got in touch with me earlier in the week as well, and he said he had a spare Scavenger that he would happily send over, and so here is a spare Scavenger with all of his bits and bobs as well, all the weapons, and there is another fist there. So this is the Scavenger we are going to be using, although I think I might do a sort of combination, because this is a sort of really old G1 version, and it looks like this might be a reissue, or I don't know, there's something odd about it. It's maybe a knockoff, I'm not quite sure, but I think maybe if I use parts from both, maybe take the digger arm off that and put it on this one, we can make a sort of nice combination. But anyway, that will be my starting point for Scavenger. The first thing that we need to do is actually give all of these a good clean, as always, because they are filthy. I do like cleaning action figures and toys like this because it does give you sort of a closer idea, and it makes you sort of study the figures as you're going, sort of to work out how they're made and what bits are broken. With these I'm just going to be using hot soapy water and a toothbrush. I don't want to immerse them in the water, I just want to sort of gently sort of wipe off the surface, because a lot of these contain bits of metal which is liable to rust. That's strange, I picked up the only one that doesn't actually have any metal parts particularly on it, just this sort of wheel pins, but some of them do have metal sections. There you go, this one does, and I don't want to sort of make them too wet and make them rusty, so using a toothbrush means you can control how much water and soap you put on them. Then I'm going to dry them thoroughly, and once we've done that we can start working out how to repair them. After a good clean, the figures are already starting to look a whole lot better. Most of them were just generally dirty, as you saw, and just a bit of soap and water has cleaned off most of the grime. There's a few little bits I can still see sort of in the nooks and crannies, but actually that's not too bad. I think overall they look a lot better. The dirtiest one, of course, was long haul, and you can see I managed to get most of that sort of orangey residue off the top of this. It was actually really tough to do. It took quite a lot of scraping. There's still a little bit left on there, but overall it's a lot better. So what I want to do now is some sort of the next stage of cleaning, and that's on the wheels. You can see they have metal pins that hold the wheels on most of these, and some of them have gone quite rusty. Now you can remove rust with vinegar, but I don't want to sort of dunk lots of big bits of this vehicle in vinegar, so I'm going to do a different method today for removing those, and I'm going to be using a glass fibre contact cleaner. Now this is the sort of thing that you would use if you're doing electronics and you've got sort of bits of circuit board that are sort of got a bit of grime on them, or the contacts on batteries, that sort of thing. It is basically lots and lots of little pieces of glass fibre all bound together, and you can rub this on the metal and it will sort of gently be abrasive, and it takes the sort of the rusty parts off of the metal. It's quite a simple tool, but it does work remarkably well. And when you're dealing with a transformer like this where it's on the wheels and you just want to work on that little bit in the middle, it works remarkably well. So you can see here we have a little bit of rust on that wheel hub. If I just gently rub this on top of it, it means I can sort of control where I'm going as well. So I'm not sort of rubbing on the plastic, I'm just doing it on the hub part, the metal pin. You can see there it's already starting to shine up. Obviously you get a little bit of the sort of broken bits of the glass fibre sort of lying on the rest of the tyre, but that's easy to remove. We can just sort of blow those away in a minute. So I'll just rub that around a bit. Let me blow off the little bits of glass fibre and you can see what it looks like. See, that makes quite a big difference already, so it's nice and shiny. So I'm going to do that on all of these wheels because they just need a little bit of sort of shining up. I'm going to get a brush as well to brush off any of the bits that get stuck in. You can see there's a little bit sort of stuck around the wheel, but overall it makes quite a big difference to the look of the hubs on this vehicle. Let's do that one. So you can see it looks a lot better. Yeah, it just makes quite a big difference. As you can see, there is a little bit of sort of dust left, so paintbrush or something like that, we can brush those out. But that makes quite a big difference. So I'm going to go around all of the tyres on this one. We've obviously got the missing tyre to fix in a minute. You can actually see as well the silver has worn off that, so we will be replacing that in a little while. But for the moment I'm just going to be tidying up these bits of metal. We'll check all of the other vehicles as well and see what they're like. Some of those are not too bad, but if I get all of those rusty pins cleaned up first, then that will make quite a big difference. Now some of the hubcaps of these wheels have also lost the silver sort of chrome plating that goes around the middle. You can see here, I'll bring in the broken wheel off this long haul. It should have chrome around the middle and it's all worn off on this vehicle particularly. If we look at that one as well, there's a few little bits missing on the middle. So I'm going to be replacing and repairing that. Actually it's just the rear wheel on that one that has this silver missing. And we're just going to be using Molotow liquid chrome pens. Now these are great if you're working with transformers because it does a very good job of sort of mimicking the chrome that was used originally on these vehicles. So you can buy these pens in various sizes. This is the 1mm nib size. I've also got a 4mm nib size which I will be using on the front here because you can see that chrome has worn away, but I think I might take this vehicle apart just to make that a bit easier. But for now I'm only going to be working on the tyre, so the 1mm nib will be fine. Make sure to shake them really well, get it all mixed up, and then once it's all mixed up we can start colouring in. It's a slow process, but it should make quite a nice difference, and you just got to take it easy as you go. With the molotochrome, I find it best to leave it for a good couple of weeks after you've applied it to let the chrome fully set, because if you touch the chrome sort of in the meantime, you end up leaving little marks and fingerprints on it. I know other people have said you can put a top coat of Alclad or something on it, but for something like this, if you just leave it for a couple of weeks, it will set really nicely and you won't have any problems. And you can see it does make a massive difference on the front there and on all of the wheels. So while we're waiting for that to dry, I'm going to fix the broken wheel on here. Luckily we do have the wheel, and I'm hoping that we can just use some plastic weld to attach that back on. Now, in the old days people would have used super glue or something like that, but plastic weld is great for sticking this sort of harder type of plastic together. It melts the two surfaces and supposedly creates a bond that is as strong as the original plastic. It does evaporate very quickly, and you do have to apply it with a brush and sort of use capillary action to make sure that it sort of soaks in. So I have an old brush here. You can see I've used this one before because it's gone absolutely rock solid. But as soon as we put it into the plastic weld, that will soften up. And what we're going to do is paint a little bit onto this surface here. I'm going to paint a little bit just onto that surface there, and I can push those two together and it should form a very strong bond. And as long as I've lined everything up neatly, I don't think you'll notice that this was ever broken. So you can see that's already started to go off, and what you do is just drop a tiny amount more around the edge of it. If you're very careful with this, you won't actually see this, and this is a fairly sort of nice area to repair because it's always going to be underneath and hidden, but this should stick it really quite well. I'll just dab a little bit more just to make sure that that is properly stuck. Again, you have to let that evaporate. It takes a few minutes. If it's a bigger area, then I'd leave it for about an hour, but in this instance it's a very small area. That will produce a very nice bond, so we'll just let that sort of set a bit, and then I think that is good to go. Now that the plastic weld has had time to dry, you can see that this rear wheel is really very firmly sort of held in place. In fact, it's probably as firm as the original one. I don't want to push them too far because I don't want to actually break off the original one, as this plastic does get a little bit brittle over time, but you can see it really is held on very well, and I can actually transform this vehicle pretty easily. Let's put him back together. Let's get that hand tucked in there, and then we can see if it sort of wheels around. Yeah, I think that's a very good fix. I'm happy with how long haul is going. Now, as it goes for Scavenger here, this one is, as I say, I wasn't quite sure with it. I think it is an original one, but some of the bits are a bit faded and a bit yellowed, and the one here, some other bits are a bit faded. So I'm going to just take the best of both. I'm going to take both of them apart, take I think the wheels and tracks from this one because they're a lot sort of more purple. These seem to have yellowed a bit, and basically just sort of cobble together one really nice one from the two sort of bits that I have here. I don't think there's going to be sort of much to show on that, so it's just undoing a couple of screws. If you take the screw off the top there and then undo the one there, most of it falls apart, and I should be able to sort of swap out the parts fairly quickly. So I'm just going to do that, and we'll make one sort of better version out of all the bits of these, because really there's not much between them. And there's the finished Scavenger. I basically took all the good bits of it, and you'll see that halfway through the video I had to sort of partially remove this sticker because I'd forgotten that there was a screw hidden underneath it. And if you use lighter fluid and a scalpel, you can easily pick up those at the edges of them and just sort of peel it back and then put it back down, and you'll hardly know that that has been lifted. But I now have a Scavenger that is all the good parts. The chrome is in really nice condition, and the purple bits are no longer sort of slightly yellowed. I think that's a very nice little figure there. And we can now go ahead and put Devastator back together. I have all the bits to make the full sort of combined Devastator, and I have a good selection of sort of the weapons for each individual vehicle. I'm not actually going to worry too much about whether I sort of managed to find the remaining weapons for that, because really I want Devastator to be displayed as his sort of full form, you know, with all 6 vehicles joined together, and these ones will just end up being stored in a bag anyway. So let's just go on and construct Devastator. We'll put it back together and see what he looks like. And here we have it. This is the complete Devastator. I'm really pleased with how he's turned out. It's by no means a perfect sort of mint version of Devastator, but that's not really the sort of toys that I like to collect. I like the sort of wabby-sabby aspect of them. So he's not particularly perfect, but he just looks great. And that's what I like with all Transformers. They all the ones in my collection are a little bit sort of beaten and a little bit worn and sort of have really had a good life already. And this Devastator is going to fit perfectly in with my collection here. He's missing a few stickers, and I probably could have gone and bought some replacement stickers for him, but again, he's not missing enough that it actually makes that much of a difference. Most of the sort of important ones are on the front here, and I'm going to be displaying him in this combined mode. I'm not going to be displaying them as sort of separate vehicles. So like this, he just looks fantastic. I put him next to my little mini Action Master version, which was the only version I had of Devastator up until now, so they can stand side by side on a shelf here, and I think that's going to be quite a nice little display. I just want to say a massive thank you to Michael Schaefer, who very kindly, as you saw, donated a big load of Transformers, and I hope to be sort of covering restorations of them as time goes by, but this was the one that everybody wanted to see first. So a big thank you to Michael, and also a thank you to Martin Baum, who sent over the Scavenger that we have here on the left shoulder. So yeah, he's looking really nice. So if you've enjoyed this video, then make sure to tap the subscribe button and also tap the bell to be notified each time I upload a new video, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching toy-polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow toy-polloi on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.